Sonic Frontiers isn't a good game. It's a game that has a lot of jank, was most likely downgraded in its spectacle to accommodate for the Switch, which is of course the version of the game I play on, and even after 3 major DLC updates, there are still many problems with the game. However, Sonic, by nature, is a character without boundaries or limitations, and as much as I dislike many things about Frontiers, the gameplay of the Sonic game has never been so inextricably connected to Sonic's core character more than in Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers gives the player the most freedom, the most potential, and the most creativity out of any Sonic game. This game is actually incredible, and throughout my playthrough and the subsequent 250 hours plus playing this at max 100 to 120 hour game, I have noticed a lot of things. From interesting locations, invisible ceilings, walls, and slopes, to going to places that we were most certainly never intended to go to, I invite you to take a journey with me to see the many secrets of the Starfall Islands. Let's start off with something simple. Sonic in his airborne state can either be in freefall, stomping, in a drop dash, in a normal jump, in a trick mode, or can act as if he's on flat ground. That's where you can see him sometimes walk off the edge of a cliff and not go into his falling animation. Anytime Sonic is in this walking state, it's an indication he just left flat ground, but he doesn't actually need to be on flat ground. The game just needs to make him think he is. If you played around with the spin dash, you're probably aware that Sonic can go out of his spin dash into a trick state, which is similar to boosting off of flat ground. This is probably one of my favorite things to do around in the open zone and is a great way to gain some horizontal distance and style. But this mechanic is pretty much the basis behind something known as the Air Jordan, which is a method of flying off of an uneven terrain as if it were flat ground. All you have to do is sidestep right before leaving the edge, and that's the trick. All of Sonic's speed is preserved after leaving this uneven terrain, which used to be quite useful in the speedrun before the jump deceleration slider was added in Update 2. Interestingly enough, you can actually get to one of the secret islands on Rhea Island just by using this method. You don't need the towers to get to it. You just do an Air Jordan in a particular spot, and then sidestep when you get close. And there you go. You might think that that's not really that impressive, but it actually took me like 30 minutes. The placement of where you do the Air Jordan is actually really specific, and I'm not really sure if I could replicate this technique today, so it's pretty impressive. Want some other cool movement opportunities? Well, whenever Sonic leaves a dash ring, if you press jump directly after leaving the ring, Sonic will still preserve his momentum as long as you have the jump deceleration slider all the way set to 0. So, in some rings, it gives Sonic physical properties that he doesn't normally have, like having a speed that is just really unnatural for him. In particular, there's a dash ring to get you out of Giganto's arena on Rhea Island. Another cool movement thing is to jump while boosting off of a climbable surface. This makes Sonic gain a pretty significant amount of height, and can be an easy way to climb towers without their geometries loaded, which is actually pretty useful for something later on. I didn't really know where to put this, but Sonic can actually jump off of this particular rail on Kronos Island underneath this land bridge that usually puts him in an automated segment for a bit. But doing this gives him a ludicrous amount of speed and takes away the player's control for a small time. Also, another fun fact, upgrading your speed doesn't just increase your climbing speed, but it also increases the speed of your air boost, so you're able to go much farther. A fun fact about this though, is that when doing an air boost out of a spin dash trick launch, you will gain a air boost similar to that of a level 99 speed. However, if you are level 1, then just doing a normal air boost will only send you the level 1 speed air boost. It's pretty interesting, and kind of indicates that this game, in some way, is kind of held together by duct tape, but it's okay, because it's amazing, and it's the fun type of jank. A useful tip about Sonic and Freefall is that sidestepping can actually help gain some extra distance, as shown from the first trick that I demonstrated in this video. But because sidestepping adds speed to Sonic's overall speed, as he's falling and you start sidestepping more and more, the distance that he travels becomes more and more and more and more, eventually to the point where sidestepping won't actually help you gain any real horizontal distance, because the amount of vertical distance that you're losing is just so great. So what if you don't like cool movement? How about no movement at all? If Sonic is in the spin dash airborne state and you let go of the spin dash but hold the boost, but you don't move the analog stick, Sonic will just stop all momentum, if those are your settings, and will slowly rise up and then fall back down while in his trick state. Ever wanted to get on top of the roof of the tutorial island? Most people who are familiar with Sonic Frontier speedruns would know that there are two methods. The Joshua method, which utilizes a weird piece of geometry on cyberspace portals, specifically 1-2, and another where you use the gates that are on the tutorial island as a way to get up on top of the roof. Both of these are actually really complicated, but there's actually a new method that, as far as my knowledge, I actually haven't seen before, and is something that I discovered myself. But if it's out there, then it's out there, and if you have the spin dash unlocked, you can make it up there much easier. It turns out that there's an invisible slope that's right to the side of the offshoot of the tutorial island near the last gate. If you go to the back of this offshoot, you'll be able to find an invisible slope that rises above the invisible ceiling, and even gives access to a second invisible ceiling above the one that speedrunners are typically interested in. Speaking of invisible slopes, another is located on Aranos Island. Aranos Island has a small invisible slope that is scalable on the right side of the gate that requires a sound puzzle to be beaten before getting past it. Interestingly, this slope doesn't exist on the left side. This might be because these are the same gates used to make up the tutorial island, and this side was always facing the inside of the cliff, and therefore its geometry was never needed to be removed. Not all objects are created equal. Did you know that the cannon on Ares Island that's used to clear the waterhole in Knuckles' story has a unique geometry, and that boosting off of the scope gives Sonic the appropriate speed that launching off of a flat surface should give him? However, every other cannon doesn't seem to have this property, although someone can maybe fact check that for me if I'm wrong about that. If you're interested in level geometry, it might be possible that Rhea Island has two different level geometries. One for normal Rhea Island, and the other for Rhea Island while Kronos is loaded in. You can reach Rhea Island from Kronos by using HSP, or by a hyper bounce if you're working on a previous version. The only notable difference I observed is that the slope on Vanilla Rhea near the water ruins has a curved surface. When Sonic boosts off of it, he sticks to it like most of our surfaces. But on Kronos, he flies off of it as if it's a flat surface. Speaking of flat surfaces, did you know that Asura's horns are flat surfaces that can be boosted off of to gain some incredible height? Yep, this doesn't really do much, but it's a neat fact. In fact, a lot of the Guardians can be interacted with outside of combat to some degree. Fortress is unique in that you can only really phase through him. Up to this point, I've basically just been talking about small little things or maybe cool movement opportunities and stuff, but now I'm gonna move into kind of putting it all together. Battle Rush is probably one of the coolest modes because it gives access to the islands in their own loaded states, without all the floating rails and floating platforms and all of the other stuff that kind of gets in the way. It's actually a pretty great way to appreciate the level design of the base islands. Now, the cool thing about this is that this gives access to so many unique areas that you probably would never even think of going. The coolest part about this is that I've discovered that you can actually go to somewhere that's completely off the map. On Chaos Island, there is a death barrier that you can't get past because it kills you on Battle Rush, unless you're fighting Knight. For all of the rest of the Battle Rush missions, going down to Knight's arena will kill you, but if you're fighting Knight, the death barrier is just removed. Yet again, this game is kind of held together by duct tape, so, they probably just removed the death barrier instead of just creating a new one, which is exactly what happened because there is actually no death barrier. if you can somehow make it out of Knight's Arena, which you can actually make it to places that you're definitely not supposed to go to. So the underground area of Chaos, you can now fully explore it without all the level geometry, which is pretty cool. While exploring this, I remembered that someone was actually able to fly outside of Chaos and find that the pinball minigame geometry is actually somewhere on the island. It's just you can't get to it because you die trying to get there. It's placed underneath the island. But now the death barrier is gone, so you can actually make it to the pinball level without modding in some feature or anything like that. You don't need a supersonic mod, you don't need some death barrier removal mod. Oh, you can actually just go there. Now, of course, you couldn't do this in the actual game, in the real overworld, but it's really interesting that you can do it here. In fact, you can actually leave all of the arenas of every Titan except for Supreme, which is pretty cool because that means that you can explore Rhea, which is in Giganto's arenas in Rhea, so you can explore all of Rhea. You can explore all of Ares without any of the level geometry, which you could do anyway with Battle Rush, but it's pretty unique in the fact that you can get there from Wyvern's Arena, which you can do from Battle Rush, but you can also do it from the King Coco challenge, which means that if you really wanted to, you could make King Coco travel with you basically everywhere on the island, which is kind of funny. In fact, discovering other islands while in their unloaded states is actually really cool, so I actually documented all the ways that you can get to each island in their respective unloaded states. Okay, so you can get through Chronos through Battle Rush, Chronos through Rhea using HSP, Ares through Battle Rush, Ares through Master King Coco Trial, Ares through leaving Wyvern's Arena, Ares through leaving Wyvern's Vanilla Fight, Chaos through Battle Rush, Chaos through Master King Coco Trial, Chaos through leaving Knight's Arena in Battle Rush, Chaos through leaving Vanilla Night Fight, Oranos through Battle Rush, Rhea through Chronos Battle Rush through a well-timed spin dash off of Giganto's head, Rhea through normal Chronos using HSP or Hyper Bounce, Rhea through Master King Coco Trial, Rhea through Chronos Vanilla Giganto Fight. Clearly, there's a lot of potential here, and it's just absolutely incredible to me that you can even do this. A lot of these kind of require the spin dash and all these new updates, but the fact that it's even possible in the vanilla game, the fact that any of this is even possible, is just astounding. Within normal gameplay, you can collect anything in any order you would like, do almost anything in any order you would like, and that's enough freedom alone. But now you can just freely explore these islands without any of the jank, any of the floating rails, any of the floating platforms, any of the mess, any of the automation. It's incredible. Now, yes, some of these do require HSP, so a pretty big glitch, or by using a really, really well-timed slingshot, but these things are in the game and they didn't patch it out. In fact, I feel like they actively want us to use these techniques, although they wouldn't probably want to teach it to us because it would just be too difficult. Although, the fact that they made us do like a 3-frame parry on the original Master King Coco Trial is pretty difficult enough, so maybe they're just that crazy.
I love Sonic, bro. What is this? This is Sonic song? No way, I just side loop. Guys, you can side loop him. Whoa! Inject this song into my ear.
I spent hours of
No!
Koopas.
Is that the infinite guy? What the hell is this? What? Whoa! Getting hit? What? Oh! Ah! Oh! No! Ah! What the fuck is going on? Why are you digging me down? Ah! You're lost. My best friend is Sonic the Hedgehog! Guys! The things! Ah!
did they make something that was so cool? We wish that we had more skins, and I wish that there were more updates. I really do. I know this game deserves so much, and in the next title, if they fix the combat and they make it more deep, but it's okay that it's not, but if they make it more deep, that's great. If they give more RPG elements, such as, items to find around the world, maybe some equipments, maybe some weapons, or just something to make it more in-depth. If they have better level design that accommodates for momentum-based level design and geometry, I don't know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, right? In this next title, if they do everything right, if they take aspects of New Oranos and they apply that to all of the newer islands or newer places that they take Sonic, if they did this shit again, literally, I don't even care if they copy Tears of the Kingdom and just take this game and then just revamp it a little bit, I would take that. I would replay this game, but differently, because I love it that much. The movement is good. The music is good. The characters are good. Everything is so good. Everything about this game is in the upper echelon of success. Everything. It has so many flaws. There are so many things that are wrong with it. There's so many things that are completely fucking back-ass words. But the things that it gets right are so incredibly pure and good. It leads to one of the most addicting Sonic experiences I've ever had. Look, there have been times that I played this game when I first played it for the first time. I legitimately couldn't put it down. I couldn't. Nothing. I literally said to myself, I will do one more cyberspace. I will do one more no memory token. I'll do one more this. And I was there for another 2 hours. There was not a single Sonic game. Nay, probably, maybe even not even a single other game that I played, maybe next to Breath of the Wild, which is an incredibly high standard, that has gotten me to say, I'll play for a little bit longer and then get off. And then don't do that. It's amazing. It's so good. There is so much depth, but not depth, but it's up to you. This game is your oyster. The world is your oyster. You can do anything you want. They really mean it when you say that. When they say that, they really mean it. And I understand that there's a lot of flaws with it, but to me, Sonic Frontiers, it's my favorite game ever. It is my favorite game, bar none, bar nothing, bar whatever that phrase means. It is my favorite. I'm not lying when I say I want to be buried with it. I don't care. I literally don't care. I want that to happen because it's that good and it means that much to me. I'm not lying. I know that sounds fucking crazy, but it's so good and it means so much to me. And I wish I had the words to explain this. Like, there are so many things in my life that I have, so many things that I enjoy, that I just have no words to explain it because I just don't have the ability to do it. I have the words, but language is not strong enough to tell you how much I feel about it. So, Sonic Frontiers is an incredible game with a lot of depth, a lot of character, a lot of heart, a lot of soul, a lot of challenge, a lot of frustration, but a lot of fun. It is fun. It is enjoyable. It is awesome. It is raw. It is cool. The fucking Supersonic, I didn't even talk about the Supersonic boss fights, and I'm not gonna, because everyone's already knows how good it is. Everyone's already said it. Everyone knows that they're fucking fire, and you don't need an explanation for it. It's just fucking raw, and he's him. He is him, and he will always be him. He's the coolest motherfucker, the fastest motherfucker, the best motherfucker on the planet. I love this guy. I love this game. Thank you so much for watching this video. Holy shit. Ah!